Hello to the members of my PLC. I am Susan Dobson, and I teach fourth grade at District 87, and it's been really nice to digitally be with you guys this semester, and I'm going to present my proposal for how to get disciplinary literacy into practice within my district. I chose to actually make this presentation geared towards administrators because District 87 has is going to be selecting a new reading curriculum, and this is the first time in over 10 years. And as we're looking at new curriculums, I really want my administrators to consider some of the things that we've learned in class today. So I'll be looking at and focusing on disciplinary literacy within the inquiry-based learning and funds of knowledge, and then looking at that 21st century learner. So, first of all, I just wanted to explain to my administrators exactly what 21st century learners look like and how things have changed from the past and how our curriculum needs to shift in order to meet the needs of our changing learners. So I'm just kind of a couple bullet points, but I think they're really some of the big things that we are looking at in our district is steadily increasing diversity among our student population and also an increased number of students that are living in poverty. And I think those are two really big topics in our district. And this is really, when we look at gearing things towards 20th century learners, I think we really have to look at the changing demographics, especially within our district, and really trying to find that curriculum that's going to meet up with those demographics. Disciplinary literacy, I wanted to give kind of a background to my administrators because I think it's important that they understand the difference between kind of that content literacy, which is what we are all so used to, and administrators, if they were teachers in the elementary level, that's probably how they taught before they had gotten into administration. So I think it's important to kind of explain to them that it's really does, it's a way of communicating specific to that discipline. So for example, in science, thinking like a scientist, reading the different texts from that discipline, different communicating styles, vocabulary of that discipline, looking critically at some of those texts within the discipline, and then writing as if you're in that discipline. So I think that's important that that we really offer a big selection of texts to help the students understand what they are in the specific disciplines, how they look. So science is one way. If we go to social studies, it's a completely different type of a discipline that you have to be specific to. So looking at primary sources, looking at bias, looking at multiple perspectives, all of these things are important when we're talking about disciplinary literacy. And so I think that it's important that our district understands that this is a big investment that we're going to be making, and with this big investment, we need to really look at these curriculums with a critical eye to see if they are meeting the needs of our students. Within the disciplines, it is important that we have a large variety of texts, and texts being everything from videos to nonfiction to, if we're in the disciplines, well-researched historical fiction to help us understand what was going on within a specific topic. And so this is something I really think our district needs to consider is, what are we investing in now? What should we continue to invest in the future? With District 87, they have been wonderful providing us subscriptions to Reading A to Z and Science A to Z and Mystery Science. And all of these things help to kind of build these text sets. not only all the things that they provide for us that are a subscription service, but there's a lot of free things on the internet. So always promoting things like Newsy LA and ReadWorks. All of these things can really make a nice text set around a certain topic. So the text set I was looking at here was Earth's changing face, or talking about tectonic plates and volcanoes, and just, I guess, the internal structures of the Earth. And so in order to get kind of that full idea of what's going on, it's good to have multiple sources and multiple ways that they can view that. So looking at funds of knowledge, and I think this is important because funds of knowledge acknowledges diversity within our students, and District 87 is known as the fourth most diverse district in the state of Illinois, and they boast about that. And that is a really important aspect when we're looking at funds of knowledge for our students, that we have students coming from a wide variety of backgrounds and cultures, and it's very complex, and it's something that we need to honor. So two things that I really just considerations concerning funds of knowledge is, number one, teacher recognition, just understanding that there are going to be a wide variety of backgrounds, and creating an environment that values diversity, acknowledges those differences. It's going to make students feel safe. Valuing the diversity of our families will contribute to student success. So I think that that's important, just acknowledging it, teachers acknowledging how important where those students are coming from is in order to help them to learn. And the other thing is, with districts, I've seen districts start cutting anything that's going to cost extra money, field trips, or bringing in presenters, or some of those cultural experiences. I think that we should actively seek out those experiences and maintain the budgets in order for our students to have those experiences, because then we're building their funds of knowledge within the classroom as well. So I really think that it's important for teachers to actively seek out those things so that we can continue building their knowledge. Our students come in at all these different levels, and we really need to not only acknowledge where they're coming in, but help to build everyone. Beyond heroes and holidays, so I think it's important that we approach curriculum as offering kind of this windows and mirrors to students. So mirrors that they are reflected in the curriculum and that they feel valued in the curriculum. So that's, drawing upon their funds of knowledge, and windows to open up a new world to the students. And I really like this graphic because I think this is so true. Kind of this cultural iceberg. I teach in a building where about 40%, 45% of our students are Spanish speaking. And I think we do a really good job with kind of that tip of the iceberg, the food and the music and the language. But then when we get down deeper, I think, really looking at some of the deeper cultural aspects, I think is going to help even more. And not just with our Spanish-speaking students, but it definitely is something that I think about on a daily basis, because we're constantly making sure that the curriculum we have is either reflective or is opening those windows to another world for those students. So funds of knowledge and kind of that building up that knowledge and acknowledging where the students are coming from is important. And I kind of segue into inquiry-based learning, because once you start this culture of recognizing where students are coming from and offering those mirrors and windows, students are naturally curiosity seeking, and so once you start building this safe environment where they're feeling like they are represented and they're valued, then you're going to be able to really segue into inquiry-based learning pretty easily. Knowledge does not occur in a vacuum, and it's actually very much a social construction of knowledge. And this is something that it's not just a teacher as a transmitter of knowledge, but kind of a teacher as a facilitator of knowledge. So I'll kind of talk a little bit about that on the upcoming slides. One thing very easily that teachers can do is creating a classroom culture that values curiosity. So creating just a culture within your classroom that is going to be it's going to be a safe place for them to take risks, to make mistakes, to question. Through text choice, fostering that curiosity. But I said here, it's important for our Spanish-speaking students. It's not just a translation of a text, but finding texts that are relevant to their culture. So I think that's important, not just finding this is in Spanish, but this is something that deals with some cultural issues that just happen to be maybe within their language. Differing perspectives. This is really important in social studies, to really look at the perspectives and underrepresented populations. So I think you really need to bulk up libraries, classroom libraries, so that we can reflect a lot of different students. We are so diverse in our district, and it's important that we acknowledge that. Go beyond the textbook. So this is where that text set, we talked about that in disciplinary literacy. Well-researched historical fiction, so not just finding one or two things, but just a wide variety of texts. They're going to support a certain topic, is going to help with that inquiry process. Multiple primary sources. So social studies, this leans itself very easily to, but this fosters critical thinking, and it gives the students, if you have that time of critical thinking and allowing them to really think and discover and question, teachers will begin to be facilitators of knowledge, not just transmitters of it. So implications in the district. Subscription services that the district offers, especially those with a wide variety of text types, should be continued. Personal libraries. This is something teachers should really be looking at, being cognizant of window and mirror texts. Student-teacher relationship building is crucial to the success. School librarians should invest in a variety of high-interest texts. So this is something it's everyone from the teachers to the librarians to the administrators. We're all kind of creating a culture. And I think these are just some questions that I want to end with. Is a representation of our diverse population within this text? So if we're looking at this reading curriculum, is this reading curriculum going to have the diversity that we have in our population? Are they not just merely offered in Spanish, but are they representative of the students of our Hispanic heritage? Do we have underrepresented populations presented in an appropriate manner? So beyond that heroes and holidays. Does it go beyond kind of that typical anthology series with text to deepen understanding? Assessments within here, are they formative? Are they representative of students' friends of knowledge? I think that multiple perspectives is really important, and I think we really need to we need to be able to show, especially when we're teaching in social studies, science. Even when you're in the disciplines, the literacy. You're still looking at being increasing your literacy. So, do we have multiple perspectives to increase? Is there kind of an emphasis on depth versus breadth in the disciplines, or do we have enough time given for inquiry and discovery? And does the curriculum ask students to participate in literacy within the disciplines? So again, looking at if we're in our reading curriculum, are there different ways for them to show literacy within the disciplines of science and social studies and math? So these are kind of the things I want my administrator to look at and want them to consider. And thank you very much.